This recap of Elegant Sea Urchin is brought to you by the vibrations of air, a current of electricity, miles of cable, some satellites, and a thing that slumbers within the black hole at the center of our galaxy that whispers nightmares to me. This is for newcomers to better jump in as the new season begins soon, and for veterans of the Swooncraft Creative to refresh and reflect on things that may have been forgotten along the way. Also, there's a bit of a new perspective on things. Hey, you, listening, thanks. And without further ado, I leave it to an important character in this saga. Today we are taking a look into the history of one of our recently prolific urchins, Faebl Knox, who wavecasts on, as she describes, the tail end of a humble ripple. She has an affection for all things living that aren't elder, tendril, or eldritch, and a perspective that challenges the loathsome way that we think. It is the 7th till the smogs roll in on the 88th of the golden season of the cursed TD 16 Sate. My name is Heather Bonilla, and this is my first Covenant Scoop inquiry. The smogs will be simmering this eve, bringing a moderate miasma flush. Be sure to open your hollows and aeries to get a fresh breath and clear some cobwebs. The ending of the season means the heat is coming. Be sure to protect yourself by stocking up on Gamma Screen. CSI recommends Raymond Screen lotions. Raymond, be cancer-free after the heat with coating that can't be beat. Recently, the tragic news of Sina Ictus has caused her mother, Min Ictus, a prominent figure of the Coven tendrils, to drop out of the trial of the tendrils. I never focused on my family, she said in an interview on the 85th. It's time I tended to my area and have my final urchin. If you recall, her first urchin, Denib Ictus, was lost to the peaks of senescence. A malfunction with his smog's mask caused him to suffocate. We loathe for the health of her final born. Sina, as many of you may know, was taking a break after finishing end school. She was traveling with Faebl while working on dimension puzzle boxes. Sina participated in this trip, waiting to see which path her elder years would lead into, researching the fractals or becoming a professional doorball player. For our main topic, Faebl Knox is an urchin from the Cove. The Knox kinship is best known for finding the recipe for the nip we use to distract Arachlians. Her grandmother tends the family hollow. Her life is made with her large, intricate sculptures. Recent interviews in the archives suggest that she traded her most recent carving, a bar decorated like coral, at a discount of 50 years. It is debated in some bubbles that the Knox kinship has a surplus of years thanks to Noel Voish Knox's nip discovery. Yet some believe that Faebl's father and mother wasted them, leaving the elder Knox with not 2 weeks to look forward to when Faebl was little. It has been a decade since the last generation of Knoxes were heard from or her mother. Speculation aside, the elder Knox and Faebl haven't seen the glowing dawn yet, so the immediate family seems to be getting on just well in time. The one thing her father has left Faebl with is the knowledge and intuition to use antiquated casting bastions. I apologize. Antiquated casting bastions. In a recent interview, Faebl has stated that she had kept the beasts happy through first and cursory school, mainly listening to a wide variety of casts with them, and only turning on the bobber to cast a few times, yet she had never really said anything. Using common wavios, she listens to and is inspired by a caster who goes by the name Dame Marin. The UV Wavecast has declined to comment on Faebl's favorite caster, or if she even exists. When Faebl shows how she tunes to Dame Marin, others are unable to find the wave she casts on. It wouldn't be until late this past teal season that Faebl would finally begin casting proper. Soon after, a whirlpool of events would begin gnawing at her life and the lives of those around her. To begin this sordid tale, Faebl says she has come from an alternate fragment of the magenta dimensions we are beholden to. As her notoriety has risen, one of the columns quoted a fractal researcher saying, "She's feeding us ruck vomit. The dimensions are separate. This urchin, with her wild cursory school dreams, is telling us a loathsome tale, not events based on reality." While she can't explain the phenomena, Faebl has challenged comments like that, saying there are so many bizarre phenomena in our world. How is it not probable that with all of us and all of the magenta after images and all of the flickering magenta people, that someone wouldn't eventually cross the threshold? There has yet been a rebuttal from the column who first published speaking out against Knox's claim. While she has yet to get it examined, Faebl has brought with her a rail spike from her original dimension. Without being looked at by professionals, it's not confirmed if this rail spike came from another dimension. There are a few fractal researchers in the Cove who believe there is evidence to back up her claim. The strongest being that the Cove hasn't had a rail system since the 8th millennia. A recent point of success for the Urchin has been her success in wavecasting. The UV Wavecast Incorporated had requested her to cast for the Cape Doorball matches. She had been involved with this endeavor for a single match. There is no word on if Faebl will be back in time to cast for the new year of End School, or if the UV Wavecast would want her casting while she is traversing the curve of our Tangerine Speck. One of the more prominent points of Faebl's last Violet season is the cease of the Q9. Is the what of the who? One of the more prominent points of Faebl's last Violet season is the case of the Q9 that followed her through the season. She gave him the name Enzo and struggled to figure out what she thought of the Terror's constant company. His mysterious appearance was only magnified by the obtuse way he left her side. Treat Your Terror's pet shop was almost like an anchor for the two. While no records of this independent shop exist, I can testify to its existence. While Enzo found Faebl one after-lunch purple shine mid-season, it was there at Treat Your Terror at the season's death where myself, Yule Aya, the Ducks Jones, and Faebl witnessed what I can only describe as a great vanishing. Many little things led to the great vanishing: close calls with 8-legged cats, the call of the Eldritch, and an incident with a smog stalker right here on our very shores. Enzo had a piercing howl that changed things. The first change at the shore was with me, or a different me, as Faebl would attest to. She said many people were different than who she knew up to that point in her life. Enzo's howl was the single most important and mysterious thing resonating through this past Violet season. And then the ducks on his weathered trail would arrive and convince Faebl to travel. Part of this may have been my fault. As our feelings maddened for each other, I shared the writings of the ducks with Faye. Part of the blame likely lies on Faye herself. She was born from restless parents, both of whom left the Cove to find their own stream. Her grand-elder, Nix Knox, recently said that if this is what Faye wants for the rest of her youth, I would never hold her back, yet I seethe, hoping she would return to the shore before long. In the Elder Knox's words, I can't help but find some blame to share with her. I'm not supposed to give my opinion, but I think we're all a little responsible for Faebl leaving. Far fewer of us coven denizens care like I do, and right. Okay, back to where I was. Come the first break of the golden season, and Faebl was off with the Ducks Jones, Sina Ictis, and Yule Iara along with her. Yule was never one to shy away from new things, and has the freedom to train by the tendrils on the move. Sina, I previously mentioned, had the same freedom. Faebl charted their course, and followed the Ducks as he led the urchins along it. Something was gnawing at Faebl, though. The sordid feelings for her deceased Q9 was bearing down on her as they crossed the curve. The group had met a kin before the auger lake that made syrup. The elder gave the group some to fuel their jaunt in return for a few mentions. Due to conflicting interests of the brown-nosed sponsors, I cannot share the name, but I'll say it rhymes with didn't. Grimsmith brought strange hollows and hosts she fought against thinking about Enzo. Yule loved the Berg and found some new clothes to waste her time on. Her mind would overflow at the wastes, something dark dredging its way out of her mind from the alien monoliths that litter the dunes. I can't be certain of the events. She cast about 4 different versions. but what has been verified was that her leg was injured. But this injury would be one that wouldn't heal so easily. When her injury became obviously hindering, the Dukes left the trio at a very old place in the world, dating back to before the glowing dawn. The Hotel Crepuscular welcomed the three urchins. As of this brown-nose report, this would be the last time the Dukes would be seen. The strange hollow consumed the urchins, almost in a way that isn't alliteration. It wouldn't take long before strange occurrences, near indoctrination, and the hint of a plot from many millennia ago would take over the fate of our coven urchins. The quirk of the monolith hollow had a strange effect on time. It was this extra time that Yule spent with a class more familiar, that Sina was able to solve her fractal puzzle boxes, and that Faye was able to think through her memories. In practice of Eldritch Connection, Yule used her runes in a vile way. A loathsome guest of the Hollow was taken by her hand. A specialist who desired to stay unnamed said that she quenched a great and gnawing hunger. Her connection to the Eldritch likely a piece of this, and the feeding left her mind in a frenzy until she escaped, calming to a measurable madness. Faebl had subconsciously found a way to piece together a new path, with a relic out of Sina's puzzle box, runes stolen from the crazed Yule, a Wavio, and part of Enzo's favorite terror toy. Something new happened. If you have the chance to find the archives of her final wavecast at Hotel Crepuscular, I'd recommend you listen to it. No reporting can do justice to the moments leading to Faebl and Yule's escape. If you remember from the beginning of my report, Sina didn't make it out. The Dukes didn't meet up with the urchins at the last rail, but a new face did. And that's all there is to report on Faebl so far. I have been Heather Bonilla. I'll be bringing you updates every 11th multiple of the seasons. When there's more to cover on Faebl's journey, I'll be here to continue my mad love's tale. More local scoops from Senior Brown Nose, Duve and Dalt, after the 7th. Once again, Raymond's Green Lotions, be cancer-free with coating that can't be beat. I'm Heather Bonilla. May terrors fill your dreams. And for everyone who stuck around, here's a sneak peek of the dream season.
Nostalgia is the death of progress. It's okay to bask once in a while, but the future should not bend backwards to become the past. We've left the shadow of the moon to finally arrive at the place named of the moon. Well, it wasn't a direct path from Salt Vein to Lunatha, but I'll save the events of the Sludge Gulf for another time. One thing that was clear on the last rail was that this lady, this older urchin who made use of one of our tickets, was exhaustingly eccentric.
Dad, that's all you have to say after all this time?
What am I supposed to say? If you want the loathsome truth, everyone thinks you should be back here preparing to fill your role.
I'm beginning to fill it just well enough without being in the cove.
Yeah, come on. I listened to her little casts. It's downright pleasant. There's nothing loathsome about her voice. And the gritty tones of her voice are worse than sand ear. And the fact that she's still proud to be an urchin...
What?
I said Faebl's voice grinds my eardrums to the point of bleeding.
Not your dumb, loving sentiments. The urchin bit.
Yule. End school is
Don't
behind
you
us.
lecture me, Dux. I played decent doorball to not completely fail out.
Whoa, Yule, that's tough. Listen, maybe it's time that you separated from her.
I couldn't give up on Faebl if I tried.
don't need you, Jones. I only started reading your doctrines because someone mentioned you and...
You've always been interested.
Well, I just never acted on that interest, so we made it, and whatever you had in mind doesn't matter. I found a purpose through the Prophet
Faebl.
and through
Here.
Piley. Your waves are flat, dead like Cena Jones.
Yule was faced away from us, trying to be as invisible as possible when I shared what she already knew was on my mind. Jones, though, he smiled, like he had accomplished something. I understand. And he left. All that I could feel was confused in a way, and so mad again.
That's it.
I'm not sure when the first episodes of the Dream season will go live, partly because it's a larger season than I've done before, and as proud as I am of the Golden season, I really want this season to be even better. Also, partly because of class and my internship cutting into the time I have to write. I do have some quality of life things coming for new listeners, and I hope to find a way to start getting ESU on Spotify and iTunes. But when I am able to start releasing new episodes, I hope you'll be here listening. I say this all the time, but thanks. It really means a lot to me. Until next time, sweet dreams.